Welcome to Real Geek Media. It is June 24th, 2024. I'm Hayden Stoll. I'm here with Christopher Michael Blake. We're here tonight, special episode. We're going to talk about Star Wars The Acolyte, episode number 4, entitled Day. Christopher, how are we doing?
Now, was I wrong that this is actually subtitled "The Dog Do You Can't Get Off the Bottom of Your Shoe"?
I don't think you're far off. I don't think you're far off at all.
I have an unpopular opinion about this episode, though.
Okay. Well, let me give it a quick little rundown. Directed by Alex Garcia Lopez, written by Claire Keuchel and Cor Adana, aired on June 18th, 2024. Okay. So, you have an unpopular opinion.
I do.
What is that?
This episode was not as bad as everybody is making it out to be.
Interesting.
And for me to come out and say that, again, I'm not a huge Star Wars geek with the lore like yourself and a lot of these YouTubers out there. I take it for face value. And the first, because again, these episodes are 28 minutes.
Yeah, they're too short.
And then there's 6 minutes of commercial of trailer at the end for the $2.2 million that for the $20 million we can't find in the picture. Because again, I still haven't seen anything. Some guy dressed up in basically a Yeti outfit running around in the woods in this episode from Harry and the Hendersons. I really just. So why is the Wookiee even in this episode?
It's a great question.
They wasted this guy. The build up with
listen.
And then you wait like an episode, and then it's like, okay, where's his lightsaber? I wanted to see him. I want to see that.
So, what for you in this episode made it a step up from the previous one?
So it's an easy one for me to answer, and two things. The first is May's transformation while she's walking with Quimir through the woods. She kind of comes to the rationalization that, hey, after 17 years in training with the Sith Lord, or bad Jedi, or bad touch Jedi, or whatever it is, or I can't see your face Jedi, voyeuristic Jedi, I don't know what you want to call them.
Let's call him the Gimp.
It's funny you say that, Hayden. I have breaking news. I have to answer your question first before I give you the breaking news. We have an exclusive here for Real Geek Media for you fans of Star Wars out there tonight. But the first is that she comes to this realization that, hey, my sister's alive, and as a character, I should really kind of feel some way about this. I just can't just continue with the straight and narrow path that I've been proceeding on so far, where even though I tried to kill my sister 17 years ago, and that really kind of set me on a path, even though I've killed 2 Jedi so far, maybe I should go turn myself into these people and put myself on their mercy. Now, whether that's plausible or not, it didn't make a difference. The character actually had a natural reaction for once in this entire show.
That's fair.
Okay, it's not like Saul who says, "I saw these people die," and then, "Oh, I believe you that your sister's alive." 2 minutes later. And the second one was the writers actually did a great thing, a positive thing, and they left you with a cliffhanger for episode 5. It doesn't matter how bad the outfit is. It doesn't matter the semantics with the Jedi and the dead Wookiee and the turning of May and the gopher up Richard Gere's ass. It doesn't matter about any of that. It doesn't matter how bad the motorcycle helmet looks with basically a zipper on it. They left you with a cliffhanger. And look, we kind of know who this Sith Lord or bad guy is going to be. And I had the exclusive here because I had the picture for next week, for Tuesday. You ready, Hayden?
Ready.
So this is the picture of the bad Jedi.
Uncovered. We have him.
But I have him.
We lost Christopher for a second. technical difficulties. Well, there we go. He's back.
Hayden, that was the Force, because they don't want me to come out and tell you.
They shut you down. They shut you down. Too much critical information.
I have the picture of who's underneath that mask. Are you ready, Hayden? Can you handle this?
I'm ready. Surprise me. I need to know.
Slow.
I freaking knew it. You know, it would not shock me if it was Army. And the zipper mask makes more sense now than ever. You know, it's listen.
So yeah, bad joke, I know, but it was there. I was low hanging fruit.
Stunt casting. They probably could have cast Army as the bad guy, and he would have killed it. He would have. Listen, I'll tell you this. He would have chewed up all the scenery. He would have ate that roll up. We could go on and on. All right.
Maybe
So
he would have ate the Wookiee at this point. I don't know.
So let's talk quick about. You thought May's transformation was good. I agree that it's a
I'm
nice.
saying it was good or bad.
I'm
saying it was.
Listen, she had something.
A reaction.
Yes.
A reaction.
And I agree with that. You know, the character's been one note so far. Just going on trying to kill Jedi without a weapon.
Both of them have. Both of them have been so uninteresting to this point.
Now, for me, this episode did nothing to make me care any more about either one of them. It's just essentially walking around the woods for 25 minutes, and then the only interesting part is the very end of the episode. Like, you could have skipped everything else. But we touched on this when we talked about episode 3. You know, the logic hole of them going right to the Wookiee Jedi. Instead, they're called back to the temple to talk about feelings. Then they regroup and then go, when they could have just went and saved the Wookiee. So, like, if you're willing to accept that nonsense plot point, then okay, then this may work for you. But for me, this was ridiculous. You know, we're sitting around, walking around. We got a otter leading us through the woods. We're Jedi. We can't sense the other Wookiee Jedi. I don't get it.
I can answer that. Soul had no problem finding the witches, right?
Right.
He had no problem finding the kids.
Right.
Every time we've seen the Jedi so far, they've never had a problem finding anybody. They've never really kind of needed a guide to track anybody down. But this time we had to find out about he/they pronouns.
Oh boy, yes, the pronoun otter.
Yes, and then he had to sniff May's underwear.
Oh, yes,
Get there.
Yes, that was just here because we just happen to have a scrap of loincloth for the Wookiee that is on hand, ready to go, that he could sniff and track him down. This is the high point of the Jedi, mind you. So,
well, I disagree with that, and I'm going to tell you why. These Jedi are supposed to be like protectors of peace, right? Protectors of the
right.
universe, the guardians, the peacekeepers. But it seems to me like they kind of just hang out and don't do anything. I mean, you got Carrie Moss hanging out in the bar. You got the Wookiee just kind of hanging out in the woods. You got the other guy who's hanging out in the monastery, literally hanging out floating in air. Are any of these people doing anything?
I think we're missing some of the context of that in the show. They're not really explaining that, right? You know, like from my remembrance of the original trilogy, there's not many Jedi that leave the Order. So I don't know if they're still Jedi or if they're posted somewhere. Like, they made it seem like the Wookiee is just kind of left, gone native, and is living in this crashed ship. You know, to get back to this episode, you know, you have the walking around at the temple. Then we're going to walk around a little bit on the planet trying to figure out which way to go. Then we're going to walk through the woods. We're going to touch some creepy bugs. Then we're going to walk some more. And we're eventually going to, mind you, walk through cheap-looking sets like you had said. Where's the money? Because everything looked like a cheap set. They're just turned the set a little bit to make it look like it's a different set. I mean, maybe you have like some special effects where they do their little Lord of the Rings moment, walking in a trail in single file. But what are we doing? I mean, this episode, as much as nothing happens in it until the last little bit. You have May and Camille walking around and bantering back and forth. And I don't know if even at this point, if it's like, are they making it just so obvious that Camille may be the Sith at the end? Is it too obvious? Every shred of dialogue he has is like, he's being real coy with his, how he's talking and, oh, the master collects people. You know this. I've never seen his face. Are we being too obvious? Now, the reason I say that is I feel like it's too obvious. I feel like it's a red herring. Everybody's probably thinking, oh, it's Camille. Now, in the very end of this episode, we see this Darth Gimp, use this force push that pushes 8 Jedi away. Now, where else have we seen that type of move in this series?
So I have an answer for you on this. And the answer lies into Star Wars canon, believe it or not. Maybe one of the people actually played a trailer clip and said, there are always two. So it's my guess is that Quimir is this guy under the helmet, but that his master is the mother.
I'm thinking the mother is involved somewhere as well, because they go to lengths to show that lesson in episode 3, where the power of 1 and then the power of 2, and we're seeing the force push that they're doing. We saw it 2 times. Why else would you show that? Now we see something very similar, where it's just annihilating these 8 Jedi. I have to think that the witch, somebody, whether it be Mother Anasea or Mother Quarrel. I mean, we see Anasea's body, so maybe it's the other one, the one that carried them.
Yeah.
I think there's some involvement there, but they're making it so easy for everybody to be like, oh, it's Camille. Now, Camille, strung up, he stepped in a trap, strung up, hanging from a tree. Does he have enough time from the time he's caught to the time May finds the Wookiee's house to kill the Wookiee, pass over May, kill the Wookiee, and then get back outside and into place to float down? I don't know. I don't think so.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to go walking through the woods, basically carrying a giant desk on my back.
Right. Very obvious.
Which probably contains a large Rick Moranis type helmet from Spaceballs.
Spaceballs mask. Darth
Gimp.
Gimp. Yeah.
Yeah. It's absolutely.
It's just odd. It's odd, man. I don't know. It really makes you question some of the choices. Now, I don't feel like enough moved or happened in this episode for me to fully agree with you that I thought this episode was worse than the episode 3. As wacky as the witches were, I think there was more to it in that episode, like as far as story, than this one. This one was like, just watch the last 10 minutes. You could skip the rest of it.
Look, the lightning bugs, I still trying to wrap my head around why one attacks when he does the lightsaber move, but they all don't come off the tree.
Right.
They're all on the tree. I don't understand that.
Chris, I legitimately thought we were going to get like
a swarm
or some like, oh man, there's some grave danger here. We got one bug, and Soul was just like, I got it.
Let me stay in place.
That was it. I'm just going to stand here and let the bug fly at the light, as if we need like a bug zapper in the woods. That's all that was. It essentially killed itself for the bug zapper lightsaber.
Now, the other thing is that you mentioned is I don't know that Quimir had enough time to kind of go ahead and get dressed and float up and kill the Wookiee at the same time. And you gotta remember, May doesn't know where she's really kind of going. She's lost.
Right.
And there's no real set time between the time. Look, it's dusk when he's like hanging upside down, and then it's, I don't want to say it's like early evening, but I mean, probably a good hour,
right.
Hour and a half that's gone by at that point. I'm guessing.
Right.
before she finds the gopher,
Yeah. Yeah. It just
They
didn't.
gopher. I'm sorry, they gopher.
I call him the Otter. Basil the Otter. Jug Band Christmas. I don't know. It's just another example of what did we say it was per episode? 20 million?
20.2, yeah.
And it feels like the heist of the century, man. Nothing in this episode really worth that. Especially when there was the writer of this episode came out and said that, yeah, we didn't have it in the budget to do the lightsaber duel with the Wookiee. You didn't?
Wow, I did not hear that one.
You didn't have the budget? That's kind of wild. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Now I suspect we're going to get another flashback. I don't know. Like I agree. I like the cliffhanger, but what I think they're going to do is they're going to do a little flashback, and we're going to see May's side of what happened on Brendok. That's what I think. And now, would that be a mistake to dedicate a whole episode to another flashback?
I'm going to tell you why it may not be. As long as they don't rehash everything from her perspective that we've already seen, and if they start some training, like a Rocky Balboa training montage. No, I'm serious. I mean that. How she gets found, how she gets incorporated, how she becomes ingrained in the dark force. I don't want to say dark side, dark force.
Right.
And some of the training that she has to go on to do to become as good as she does to be able to beat the Matrix,
right.
star, Carrie Moss. And then, I just don't understand why does she not allowed to use a weapon? It's like, oh, this guy is supplying her the weapon. Quaimar gives her the poison, but you can't use the poison. What kind of test is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I really I have a problem with that.
Do you?
It's kind of like, don't use this, but this might make your job a lot easier.
Do you think there was anything to when Darth Gimp comes face to face with Osha? I thought she was dead. I thought he was going to kill her, and then we were going to see May fully embrace going to the good side. Now it looks at her and then just kind of throws her into the woods. Do you think there's anything to that look? That maybe down the line, well, if your sister has failed me, I still have a chance with you.
The old Luke Skywalker, huh?
Yeah. This has been a theme with the Sith through all of Star Wars. They're looking to replace with stronger, more powerful.
I don't mind that introspection. Has May already failed him at this point? Let's face it, she's basically told Quaimar,
screw you guys, I'm going home.
Yeah, your master can go fuck himself after 17 years.
Yeah, yeah.
I just I'm a little bit more fascinated about the internet moniker that's come up for the Gimp. Smilo Ren. That's what they're calling him.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's just not one YouTuber is calling him. That's a whole bunch.
Yeah,
it's not a bad name.
No.
Smilo Ren. Yeah, it's
No.
It's okay.
Listen, we don't. Yeah, I like it. I like it.
But no, that's some good introspection. I hadn't heard that one, so I think it's quite possible. It's certainly not bad foreshadowing on your part to think that. But I have to sit there and say, are the Star Wars writers smart enough to know to do that?
That's the question.
And my answer is no, they are not. Especially if you're going to devote a whole episode to another montage going back in time now. So that leaves you with 3 episodes.
Right. We're halfway through. And I don't know.
I 10-part series? Okay, maybe.
But 8 parts, I could see them going back and doing a flashback. But if you're doing a whole, you could do that in 10 minutes. Just give us the quick cuts. This is what's happened. This is what we didn't see. Great. Now move the story on. But if you give us a full 28-minute episode of that, I think you just wasted time.
I think you're going to get to the training. I got to sit there and tell you.
I'll say this. If they don't, I'll be disappointed. If we don't see that at all, I'll be disappointed. But let me ask you this question. The scenes earlier on in this episode where they're back at the Jedi Temple, and we have one character, Ki-Adi-Mundi, the Conehead Jedi.
I'm glad you said that because I have written down Kitty Mundi. Yeah.
So
okay.
Now, what we have in this scenario is they're not part of the High Council. They're like a sub-council talking about whatever things. And here we have this Jedi put into this series, and probably one of the things that this character is known most for is his lines in the prequel trilogy. The Sith have been extinct for a millennia. But here's
1,000 years. 1,000 years.
But here's this character popping up. And are the writers trying to do something here? Are they trying to insinuate or place threads that maybe this guy knew and he's covering it up? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to hope that they have something up their sleeve by including this character that has basically lied through the prequels now. That resulted in the deaths of... I don't know.
You're taking for granted that these people even watched the prequels.
I am. Yeah, I am.
Because I was watching YouTube today, and one... I got to give credit for this guy. I think it's Star Wars Theory or Chaos Theory or something like that.
Right, Star Wars Theory.
YouTuber.
Yeah. He's
Star Wars Theory.
Yep.
He was showing that during the episode, they were going back in and redating Ki-Adi-Mundi's date of birth as the episode progressed, because fans got on the message boards and were like, how can this guy be alive 40 years before he's supposed to be?
Right.
And they were like, oh, we better go in and change that real quick.
Right.
So they're rewriting lore and these characters, hoping that no one notices anything, because they had no idea what they're doing at this point.
And it's funny, like, that they have a story group who are the lore keepers, right? And they don't even know or care enough about it to ensure that some of these intricate details are left correct, for the viewer. So, Star Wars has a very diehard fan base, and the smallest little thing is going to get called out. Now, if the series was good and the shows were good, the writing was good, you wouldn't have people complaining nearly as much about this series, right? If it was good, people would tell you it's good. But it's just not. And, listen, you're halfway through it. Unless you can stick the landing somehow, I just don't see it. You have given me nothing to really build up my hope that it's going to stick the landing. So we'll see. We'll see. We did run a poll.
Okay, what was the poll?
We ran a poll for episode 4, if you liked it or if you didn't like it. And our poll was split 50-50. So our viewers were split right down the middle on this one. And I could see it being to some refreshing. Listen, we're not getting that. We're actually moving the plot forward. We're in the present time. We're moving it forward as opposed to just sitting at this backstory that a lot of people didn't.
I don't think it was the backstory that really killed it. It was the witches and a lot of that other wall stuff that was kind of going on in the last episode. And I think it's kind of like the stock market. You're watching a stock for a long time, and you know where that bottom is. And then you reach that bottom, and it was kind of like it cannot get worse than this. And even if it's just a little bit better,
right?
I have to jump in now. And I kind of feel like that was this episode.
Yeah. It's
not great beyond any point of the imagination. Is it better? Yes. Is it better that I would recommend it? No. Again, it ends with a good cliffhanger or a well done cliffhanger. There's actually some character feeling, but a lot of it, like you said, it's basically the hobbits walking through Mordor at this point.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Now they had said, they being the, I guess the creative team for this show, had said that there's lightsaber duel in here that will rival the Phantom Menace, Darth Maul and Obi-Wan fight. We have yet to see anything that's come even close to this. We have not seen lightsabers clash at all in this show. Maybe we get it next episode. Maybe we start to see something action-wise that is really good as opposed to super slow, choreographed, kung fu. I don't know. I'm hopeful. I just... You got to do something here as far as the action goes. It's a 1v8, plus you have May and Osha on this planet. How's that going to turn out? Or is it just going to be dust cloud and I'm out of here?
Look, we all know now, if you get stabbed with a lightsaber in the sternum, the only person who dies is Qui-Gon Jinn.
Right.
Everybody else lives now.
That's correct. That is correct. Yeah.
I mean, look, May and Osha, they're not going to die. Soul and all those other Jedi, they're all kind of expendable.
But if you look at it like this, they all have to die. If the Sith have been extinct for millennia, then nobody can know what happened that is in that spot. All of them have to die.
But you go back to when Saul goes back to Coruscant, right? And he's in the meeting with the green chick, and she kind of looks like Pink, right? But
yeah,
green,
just green. They call her green,
right? But it's like, oh, we're not going to tell anybody about this. We're going to kind of hide this. And then she starts yelling at him about hiding stuff.
What do you think of her? Do you think she's a red herring for this? Do you think she could be somehow complicit in any of this? Because she comes off as a very much shady character for a Jedi.
I think she is your typical boss at work. She don't want to hear it. She's got her own agenda. She's trying to move up the council. Who do you think you are coming to talk to me? Don't you have a chain of command? How dare you send me a direct email? Send it to your boss and have your boss send it to me.
She does seem that type.
And that's typical. That's typical. I mean, that's the way people are trained to communicate nowadays.
Yeah.
Know your place, pleb. Don't get out of line. Seriously. Why would you even consider picking up the phone and calling me? Don't you have a boss? What are we paying him for? And it's a shame that the communication's like that nowadays, that you can't raise a question, or you can't have an independent thought, or hey, we need somebody to blame for today. And guess what? You're the lowest guy on the pole, Soul, and you and your little Padawan friends are going to take the blame on this one. Well, I mean, look, Osha crashes on the ice planet. Soul has no idea where she is. I didn't say go for run around looking for her. Right? But now here it is. Oh no, we need him to go find the Wookiee. Even though I worked with this guy for all these years, I have to. I just don't buy it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I guess we're gonna see. I don't know. I'm hopeful next episode moves the plot forward again, and we don't get too hung up on flashbacks. But we are missing a piece of what happened on Brendok, and I think at some point in this series we're gonna see it. But I don't think they did a trailer for the next episode. I don't think they've been doing that at all, have they?
No, I haven't seen anything.
Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes score is creeping down. It was at
14%.
It was at 13 at one point. I don't know if it's crept back up from 13, but
I think that episode 3 really kind of just
that tanked it for a lot of people. Yeah.
Now let me ask. Here's my question for closing thoughts for tonight here, Hayden. I think there's a lot of YouTubers like ourselves, podcasters, Star Wars loreists, people whose sole intent is to come on and rip the show. And, I don't know what the numbers are for the series. You happen to know what the numbers are for this last episode?
I don't think Nielsen's come out yet for any of this series.
Okay. But I would hesitate to guess that after episode 3, they've lost more than, say, half their show.
100% agree with you. 100% agree with you.
And I would hesitate to guess that maybe 50% of what they have remaining are the people who are on every week. Tell you how bad and make jokes and to drink while they're filming their YouTube episodes. From what I've seen, that's just a guess.
I would agree with you.
Again, it's just.
But here's the thing: if it was good, right? And let's look at Disney Star Wars, as a whole. You've had, in my opinion, Rogue One, Andor, and first and second season of Mandalorian. That's all for me that I've really enjoyed. I don't think they get it, and I'll tell you if they do, because they've done it a couple times. They've had hits, like Rogue One and Andor and Mandalorian. They can hit the mark, but when they miss the mark, they miss so wide of the target that it's just like almost embarrassing. That how can you take this franchise and steer it into a cliff or off a cliff? That's wild.
I really enjoyed episode 7. But unfortunately, after episode 7, there was an 8 and a 9, and I'm trying to block those out as much as I can.
7, it was the best of the sequels. Yeah.
Right. But again, I really enjoyed 7. When I saw 7 in the movie theater, I was like, I liked it better than 1, 2, and 3.
It got you.
I was like, I wish they had done that instead of 1, 2, and 3. I wish, because I think it could have been even better. But
it got you very much hyped for episode 8, very much so.
But I can point to the jump the shark moment for this entire universe.
Lightsaber over the shoulder.
No. The Mary Poppins.
Oh, that's one of many in that episode.
the Mary Poppins for Princess Leia back into the ship was just so egregious. I'm sitting there looking at that in the theater, and I said, I wanted to get up and walk out.
Yeah, it was bad. For me, it was when Luke Skywalker tossed his own lightsaber over his shoulder off the cliff. I thought that was like, nope, this movie, nope. It's not it. It's not it. But we're going to tune in. Episode 5 airs tomorrow at 9.
9 o'clock. They deliberately froze us out.
Tomorrow at 9, we're going to watch. We're going to put a poll. You're going to tell us what you thought. We're going to tell you what we thought next week when we review.
Now, I have one final thought on that. Because I think when the series came out, they started debuting it at midnight, right?
No, they've changed this since... I think it's since Ahsoka. They changed their release to like a primetime format.
So, this is a guess on my part, because we download videos to Spotify and RSS feed and to Apple. And for you to take a YouTube clip and to put it on those platforms, it generally takes 12 hours. So let's just say you watch the episode at 9 o'clock. You film what you need to film. That could take an hour, maybe 2 if you want to clip it and make it professional. And by the time it's ready you put it on YouTube, and now you want to hit that share button to Spotify without paying for YouTube Prime or Premium. Do you think they're doing that because they don't want so many people coming out and trashing their stuff? It's almost strategic. Like, we're trying to limit the number of people and the information that's getting out there.
I don't
kind of control it.
For
12 hours. I
think it's more so that when they were releasing things at midnight, nobody was watching it because nobody's staying up to watch that. I think what they're doing is, and they think it's a smart move, is to release things in prime time. This way you get everybody watching the premiere time, 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock. And I think people are like, okay, 8 o'clock new episode, I'm going to sit at the TV and watch it. Versus it released at midnight, everybody's asleep. It's strategic, and I think it's one of the smarter things they've actually done. Believe it or not. I think it's very smart because what you're trying to do is set appointment viewing. And that is why like Netflix. They dump everything at one time and you just binge your way through it. Nobody talks about it. You forget about it in a week, 2 weeks. It's gone on to the next piece of content. What they do right is they release everything weekly, and they're starting to release it at a 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. on a same night of the week. And that creates, or the intent is to create, appointment viewing. I think that's a smart thing that they're doing, which is smarter than what Netflix does. The problem is it's not a good show. It works with The Mandalorian. It doesn't work with this show because it's not good.
The one thing I'm going to say, again, I can't say I disagree or agree with you on that statement. I think it's very insightful, though. And this was huge back in the night, when Phantom Menace was coming out. Do you remember the movie that came out, the first movie that the trailer was showing for?
Oh, for Phantom Menace's trailer? I don't remember.
The Water Boy.
Oh, okay.
And
Huge.
People were buying tickets
yeah.
for The Water Boy just to watch the trailer for Phantom Menace. And then they would stay for the movie The Water Boy, and that's how it became such a cult classic. A lot of people said, all right, I've already paid for the ticket. I might as well stay and watch the movie.
Right.
And you think about how people would just spend $20 just to watch a 2 or 3 minute clip of a movie. This, I guess, all before YouTube and everything
right.
else. So it wasn't like instant gratification like it is now. But people would spend that kind of money. Now you think, well, okay, what now? You're saying, well, people won't even bother to stay up till midnight to watch a show based on something you love. I have to wonder what the drop off is. It's like, and when did that start? Was it episode 2?
No, they started. They started with the Ahsoka series.
No. I meant the. When did people stop caring about?
Oh, gotcha.
The trailer. Like when episode 2's trailer came out.
Right. I got
people
you.
Like, oh, I gotta show up at the movie theater to watch that.
Right.
I didn't hear that kind of buzz about it at the time.
Right.
I mean, I just didn't.
Yeah, I got you.
Maybe George Lucas is to blame a little bit.
Well,
I don't know.
It's tough. Like, for the way I feel about Star Wars right now, but then we'll say this and then we'll say goodnight to everybody, is I really think it needs to go away. For you to miss it, for me to miss it, for the fans to miss it, in order for them to craft something that people are going to want and love, to bring them back in to join it. There's too much content now, and it's not good content. It's just worse and worse and worse, piling on top of each other, beating down the fan base, dividing the fan base. I think it just needs to go away. 10-year break, come back with a new series or a movie. Star Wars belongs on the big screen. It should not be a streaming series. Do away with all of that. Bring the fans back, get the fans united, get them hyped about something, but it's got to go away. It's got to go away for us to miss it. Right now, nobody's missing it. They're all making fun of it, like you said. Diehard fans. But this is what you've done. Like they need to change their philosophy, and I don't know if they're going to do that. Best thing they could do is sell it. Sell Lucasfilm.
Now, would you say the same thing about Marvel?
I would.
I agree with you on both those points.
Yeah.
I do. I agree with you on both those points. I really do.
It's a shame, but
Yeah.
Well, episode 5 tomorrow night. Check it out. We're going to review it. We'll let you know when, and we'll put in a poll for you guys so you can let us know what you thought. All right. Until next time, I'm Hayden Stoll. He's Christopher Michael Blake. May the force be with you.